The reserve list is filled with 572 choices for players to buy from. And in the discount days that have followed Magic 30th's Collector Edition with price-sensitive players, this has been a shopping spree at a discount, allowing players to find the right cards for them to fit the right deck. And are the cards I'm showing you today going to be the right ones? Well, let's take a look and find out. Where we've been and where we're going. The past and the future. The dominoes are falling, and what was the first domino? Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Thanks for being here on the channel today. When I look at what's going on in the secondary market of Magic the Gathering, I feel like a kid in a candy store. And I don't have a lot of money to buy all the things I want to buy. But that's how I feel. That's the elation I get when I look at all these reserve list cards that are so cheap. When I look at all the new sets coming out pushing prices down. Box prices might be high, but the singles are cheap. And that leaves a lot of opportunity. If you know where to look and you know what you're looking for. It leaves a lot of good times ahead. Playing some great games with cards that even myself thought I would never buy, never be able to afford because some of the prices were too high, and I felt they were a little bit too high for my blood. I was like, a little out of reach, don't want to go there. But now, it's like discount days. It's like I've got a coupon in my hand for 50 to 80% off. I've just got to decide what to buy. And that's where a lot of players are starting to feel right now. Because although you may not have a lot of money, you're pooling your resources now, putting together that rainy day fund and saying, a lot of these cards are looking pretty good right now. They're coming down in price and making themselves more available and more affordable. As other players look for liquidity in the market because they were flippers. They were the evil investors who want out now. They're not the long-term people who like those people who stick around for 10, 20 years. These were the 2 to 5 year people who just say, whoa, everything's horrible. I want out. I want some cash now, wherever I can get. And that's left more availability for these cards. And that means prices get pushed down. And that's good for anyone who wants to buy any of the cards I show you today. Any cards that I don't even show you. You know what cards you like. And if you don't, maybe I'm going to show you some new cards you've never seen on the reserve list. It's a great time. Discount days are here. So we're going to take a look at these cards. You're going to tell me if you think any of these are awesome. Or if you think, Moxman's just pumping and dumping. Isn't that what Rudy would say? Yeah, that's what Rudy would say. Pumping and dumping. Except for I don't dump anything. I usually just buy reserve list cards and hold. And so do most of you guys who watch my channel. So let's go ahead. Let's look at some awesome cards. And let's enjoy the discount days. Because when they're gone, we're going to wish they were still here. Here we have Sliver Queen from Stronghold. Now, this card has been as high as $700. And now the market price is $239.82 US. Anyone out there who thinks that's not a bargain, I beg to differ. This is the only sliver on the reserve list. It is a piece of history, but not only that. It creates colorless slivers. And that's what I'm talking about. Pumping out an army of creatures with your queen is just one of those joys of life that few people should be passing up on. And I look at this card, I look at that value and I say, it costs as much as a heavily played dual land. But revised dual lands have a much higher print run than Stronghold did. I think this kind of card just really shouldn't be passed up on by the player base at this level. But you know what? A lot of players are putting their money and putting their chips elsewhere. They're holding on to their shekels and getting what they want to get, which means the Sliver Queen's price is going to keep slipping a little bit further, and that makes it more of an appetizer for other players who have the funds to buy these cards. Now, when we're taking a look at the next card, this is Powder Keg. This is not a card I usually mention on the channel, but with all the token effects going on out there, it's one of those cards I think we should mention. It's been as high as 30 bucks. It's around $10 now. Not a very expensive card, but it is a 2-drop generic artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a fuse counter on the Powder Keg. That means you can or cannot. If you forget, you don't get to go back and change your mind. Remember that in the game, guys. You may. Now, it says sacrifice the powder keg. Destroy each artifact and creature with converted mana cost equal to the number of fuse counters on the powder keg. Now, when you look at this card, I want you guys to think about it. When you look at that card, it's going to protect planeswalkers. It protects enchantments. There are things that are going to be protected while other things are eliminated. And destroying all the creatures in play or all the token creatures created nowadays for 2, that's an amazing card to have and at your disposal for $10. For the low price of $10, you too can own the powder keg. I know, guys, not an expensive card, but a lot of fun. And by the way, the foil is still pretty cheap considering it's the very first foils ever put out. And that's in Urza's Destiny. $109, very affordable. Now our next card, again, another super cheap card, and that is Urtai, the Wizard Adept from Exodus. This card is reserve list. It's $13.80. It's been as high as $60. Look at that price differential. Look how far it's come. Look where it was. Look where it is now. Now, it really shot up there in 2021 with all the crazy buyouts. It probably did not deserve to be at $60. But let's take a look and see if this card has any value, anything good going on. Now, it's 1 blue, 2 other. That's easy to get out. It's a 1/1, which is sad. It is a legend, but he does count as a wizard. That's kind of nice for like any tribal wizard decks in the future. And it's 2 blue and 2 other. Counter target spell. Play this ability as an interrupt, which nowadays is instant speed. You can counter people's spells with this card every turn. Think about that. Think about other ways like Mirror Box, of cloning this thing, of putting other copies of this into play, of ramping up mana pools and just controlling the game. I like this card. What can I say? It's $15. How can you not afford to get that card? Awesome. And it could go up later in its lifetime. We never know. Now our next card is Treachery. Always enjoyed this card, and now it's just coming down in price, making it very affordable. Urza's Destiny, market price of $61.97. It's around $85 here in Canada, though, guys. Be aware of that. Probably cheaper to get it on TCG Player. And remember, guys, if you are shopping on TCG Player, please remember to use my affiliate link that is found in the description of each and every one of my videos. When you click on that link, it'll take you right to TCG Player for your shopping experience, but I will get a kickback of the channel, and we get a little bit of money here to buy the cards ourselves, so thanks again everyone who helps out. Now when Treachery comes into play, you untap 5 lands, and then you also control enchanted creatures, so it's like a control magic for free. Love this card. I love that game effect of untapping all those lands they used to do, that crazy stuff that made this set so broken back in the day. Treachery is an amazing card. And don't forget, with cards, with all the ways we have now of bringing enchantments back from graveyards, this thing can keep coming back too. It's amazing. Now our next card, Yavimaya Holo, still steadily going down. And this card is one of my favorite effects in the game, which is Regeneration. Now the market price on this card, $79.47 US. You can find light played copies for $50 Canadian. I don't care what that market price says. You can shop around here in Toronto like face-to-face games, and you can find this card like $50-$60. Okay? When you look at this card and you see Yavimaya Holo, add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. It doesn't even come into play tapped. But it's second ability in a green deck. Regenerate a target creature. So if you don't want your creatures to die, you gotta keep things alive, a particular creature you don't want to leave the battlefield, this could be a possible way to save the creature, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Cards like this right now are so affordable considering it reached the level of just under $200. And look where we're at right now. Now our next card, a little more pricey, I understand, guys, but this is Survival of the Fittest. Remember, you're at discount days. You're like this. You gotta push out of the way to find the cards you want to own. And in this case, Survival of the Fittest, market price $246.51 for a near mint copy. You can find moderate played for under 200, heavily played for around the 150 mark. Survival of the Fittest is only 1 green and 1 other. That's what makes it so amazing from Exodus. And it says 1 green, choose and discard a creature card. Search your library for a creature card. Reveal that card to all players and put it into your hand. But think about the cards you can go for. Think about the deck construction. And then the card you just discarded, you gotta remember, if you have something like Volros Stronghold, you have some way of recycling your creatures, or you want creatures in your graveyard. Deck connections and synergy are so important, and Survival of the Fittest can help you get where you want to go. And after you buy one, you really don't need another. You can just have the one. Now, how about Academy Rector. Market price $87.52. Had a little bit of a bump right there when I mentioned it was a little bit cheaper, guys. When it was around the like $79, $80 mark, it kind of went back up again. But we're falling again. Okay, we're back on trend to keep falling. So take a look again. It is 1 white, 3 other. When it is put into the graveyard from play, you may remove it from the game. If you do, you get to search your library for an enchantment card and put it into play. Think about the deadly enchantments in this game nowadays. And the cleric here is going to help you get it. The Rector's like, hey, it's okay. When I leave the battlefield, when I die, and I go wherever I'm going, I'm going to help you get whatever you need to win the game. It's an amazing card. And right now at $87.52, it's still a bargain basement value, considering it was like $150. Great card. Now our next card is Scorched Ruin Weatherlight. This thing was around $80, $85, I think at the height. Market price is now $31.22. Anyone who doesn't own this card, I have 4 myself in my Eldrazi deck. And it's like when Scorched Ruin comes into play, sacrifice 2 untapped land or bury the Scorched Ruins. And of course, add 4 colorless mana to your mana pool, which is why it's so awesome. But the cool thing is when you use this with other like kitchen table cards like Fast Bond or whatever card you're playing with, you can like recycle lands, get lands, infinite mana loops. You can have a blast with cards like this. And for that low price, you could get like a play set of 3, not a full play set of 4, but let's say 3 for the price of a Shieldred. You could get 4 of them if you go for like moderate to heavily played. It's crazy what reserve list cards you can get your hands on now at these prices. Now the last card I want to share with you is Paradigm Shift. Now, there are more and more different win-con conditions that make cards like this kind of fun. The market price is $10. It's not an expensive card. 1 blue, 1 other, and it's a sorcery. Remove all cards in your library from the game. Shuffle your graveyard into your library. With cards like this, I use it with my Time Walking deck. So I wait till I've Time Walked and forked a couple times, taken a few turns, and my graveyard has a few good cards in it. Then I use something like Paradigm Shift, but I don't cast this until I have my Soldevi Digger out, just so I can infinitely recycle the couple of cards that are in my graveyard. And that way they never get another turn. Like I have poked people to death with a Savannah Lion because they just couldn't do anything to stop me because they were tapped out. It was like turn 2 or 3, 4 when this happened. It was a lot of fun. And there are other win cons like using, I think it's Thassa, Oracle Thassa, whatever, when there's no cards in your graveyard and stuff, no cards in your deck, and you win the game. There's stuff like that. You got to look at them up. There's other websites that'll help you with that. But it's some great fun, and it's a very inexpensive card right now. There was a lot of other crazy things you can do, and there are so many decent, cheap cards. And I'll cover more next week. Don't worry, this is like a little sampling, guys. There are more cards that are very inexpensive that players should be paying attention to that they're not. And that's why I like to put a little spotlight on some of these cards to share them with you, to let you know where my head's at and why I'm looking at some of them. Some of these cards have been at such high highs that even at these new lows, they seem like a really good deal because you know eventually things will recover. Just when things are darkest before the dawn and negativity is everywhere, when it comes to these reserve list cards, they tend to bounce back sooner. Remember that. They tend to come around again. So that's where I'm at. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me. Thanks for chilling on the channel. Can't wait to see those comments in the comments section. And you know what? I hope you're having a happy discount day, having some nachos and cheese, thinking about the good times, and remembering that it's a great game and you can't wait to play it again. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you soon. A big shout out and thank you to all the fabulous patrons on the channel who support me each and every day and allow for the content of the channel to be created with your kind financial support. Thank you again, everyone. Rock on.